Hello to all! Welcome again to a new video. I hope that you are fine, you have started a very good year 2021, and especially that it keeps being good and full of health, which is very important in these times. Yeah? Well, today I would like to talk about the different taxes that you have to have in mind when you own a property in Spain. I know which is not the best subject to talk and not the most funny aspect to talk, but yes, in Spain there are taxes to pay. So let's imagine that you own a property or an apartment in the coast of Spain, let's say for example Nerja in Malaga, and that you have bought the property recently and that you are considering about, well, which are the costs that I will have next year. And if we talk about the taxes, you should consider two different taxes. The first one is what we call IBI, which is similar to the local rates in the UK, and for example in Sweden is similar to the fastighetsskatt, which is a tax that is related to the property and that is paid to the town hall of the municipality where the property is located. The IBI is based on the tax value of the property, which is a value recorded by the tax office in Spain of all the properties located in the whole country. And there are different rates and percentages depending on the location of the property and the municipality where it is located. And it is paid in most of the cases once a year, especially during the summertime. And this is the IBI, the IBI. So do not forget the word IBI, because you will hear that many times. Yeah? What we recommend the client is to settle a payment through the bank by standing order, which is very easy to organize, so that you have the money charged directly into your account. Another aspect that you must consider related to the IBI is that in some locations, in some municipalities, they charge, together with the IBI, the rubbish collection fees. In all the municipalities, the rubbish collection fees is included in the IBI. But in some of them, for example in Nerja, it is separated. So you pay the IBI and on the other hand, the rubbish collection fees. The amount to pay or the tax to pay is always difficult to say, but we are not talking about a huge amount. But imagine that we talk about an apartment about 200,000 or 300,000 euros worth. I would say that IBI can vary from 700 euros up to 1,100 euros. And again, to say it depends on the municipality. There are municipalities where the IBI is higher, and there are municipalities where the IBI is not that high. And what is also very important that we talk in previous videos is that if you get registered in the municipality, what we call empadronado, some municipalities offer different discounts. For example, if you paid through a standing order and you are empadronado, some town halls offer like a discount of 40% or 30%. You can split the payment in different payments, yeah? Not only once a year. So check with your town hall which is the option you have once you get registered. So once we have talked about the IBI, let's go to the second tax that you must consider. And the second tax is an income tax that you need to declare in Spain. And the first question that surely comes to your mind is, why should I pay income tax when I pay my income tax in my country? And the reason to pay income tax in Spain is not because you are a foreign person, which most of our clients wonder, is because in Spain you pay an income tax for any property that we own, which is different to the permanent home. This means that the permanent home is tax-free in Spain. But if I own a second or a third property, those properties or those values I have to include in my income tax declaration every year, and I pay taxes on them. For you, if you are a foreign person and you are non-resident in Spain, which means that you pay your taxes out of Spain, then you need to declare an income tax for those properties. Why? Because for the tax administration in Spain, that property is different to the permanent home that you could have, because it is surely located abroad. So many people ask us, but I am paying just because I am a foreign person. No, it's not because you are a foreign person. It's because you own a property that for the tax office is at least your second property. What we call income tax, we normally call deemed income tax, because it's not a real income tax, because it's not a tax on a real income. This is a tax based on a fictive income. And the fictive income is calculated on the tax value of the property. So we take the tax value, we apply different percentages, and then we get the tax to pay. For your information, the tax rate, if you are a European citizen, is 19%, which is the same tax rate that we, locals, nationals in Spain, or foreigners being tax resident in Spain, pay. And if you are out of the European Union or European citizen, you are not a European citizen, you pay 24%. Take the tax value, you multiply for a specific percentage that can be 1.1% or 2%, and on the resulting amount, which is the fictive income, the tax rate to pay is 19%. So the calculation is very easy. You take the tax value, we call it valor catastral, which is the value given to the property by the tax office. On the valor catastral, you multiply by 1.1% or by 2%, depending on the municipality where the property is located. And that gives us an amount, and on that amount, the tax to pay is 19%. So as you can see, the calculation is very simple. And if you are non-resident in Spain, means that you don't declare an annual income tax in Spain, therefore you have to do a specific tax declaration. And that tax declaration, which is the model 210, any foreign person, non-resident in Spain, can do it up until the 31st of December every year. So you can pay it until the 31st of December every year. And most of the cases, most of our clients pay the tax at the end of the year. The question is, can you do that declaration yourself? Yes, you can do it. The only problem is that in many cases the information is just in Spanish, and we come to the aspect that we have talked in previous videos, that if you don't speak Spanish, sometimes it can be complicated for you to fill in the form and get the right information for this. But if you are brave to do it, yeah, you can do it. In other cases, you can use the services of a law firm or any tax advisory firm that will help you with this declaration, which, as I say, is simple, but it is recommendable to be updated with the tax administration in Spain, and this income tax for non-residents is one obligation if you own a property in Spain. It is true that many people get confused because they hear income tax, and as I said before, maybe they say, why should I pay income tax if I don't get an income in Spain? But let's suppose, or let's imagine that you rent out your property and you get a real income. In that case, it is a real income tax, yeah? Which is different to the previous tax. Yeah? The previous tax I mentioned is you paid if you don't rent it out. You don't get any income. But if you get incomes from rentals, you need to declare those incomes regularly in Spain. If you are non-resident in Spain, you have to declare those incomes every quarter, not once a year, every quarter. In April for the first quarter, and then in July for the second quarter, in October for the third quarter, and in January of the following year for the last quarter. And in that declaration, you add all the incomes you have had during that period, and you can deduct certain costs to keep the property, like the electricity, water, or the real estate commission, or cleaning and laundry, can be deducted in that declaration. And on the profit you get, the rate to pay is also 19% if you are a European citizen. Yeah? So it is very important that you distinguish that if you get incomes from rentals, you pay a real income tax. And as I say, it's declared quarterly based on the calculation taking the incomes and deducting the cost. Yeah? But if you don't rent it out, you pay the deemed income tax, the income tax for non-residents, which is paid once a year at the end of the year. Yes, many people owning properties in Spain, many foreigners sometimes get confused about the different taxes. But even some of them, and that is my experience, they get also confused as they have to pay regularly the fees for the community of owners where the property is located. Yeah? Surely in your country of origin is the same. If you own an apartment which is located in a complex, in a building, there is a community of owners association, and there are some communal costs like the lighting, the cleaning, the gardening, if there is a swimming pool, the maintenance of the swimming pool, the maintenance of the lifts. So all these communal costs are paid by the Community of Owners Association. And your apartment, you as owner of one apartment in that complex, pay the fees proportionally to the percentage of the apartment in the whole complex. Yeah? So imagine, let's put a very simple example, that we have a building with 10 apartments and all have the same size. So it will be divided, the value of all those costs, between the different 10 property owners. Yeah? So you would have each of them will have a percentage of 10% on the total cost. Yeah? So just that you have an idea. Yeah? But do not mix or do not confuse between the community of owner fees and the taxes to pay. The community of owners fees is a cost that you have to keep your property. In most of the communities, the fees are paid monthly, and we always recommend to pay them through a standing order or by a standing order through the bank account. And in other communities it's paid quarterly, so it depends. Yeah? But again to say, we are not talking about a tax, we are talking about a cost.
Okay, so anything, do you want to share some anecdotes about these taxes? Or?
Well, there are many, yeah? Because as I say, when we contact the client every year to remind the tax obligation for the income tax, they forget it every year. So we have to remind them, and it's not always nice to remind a tax obligation. They prefer to remind them a nice, party time. Yeah? But it is true that sometimes it's difficult. I understand if I owned a property in another country that I surely would forget many things. Yeah? But it's things that you forget. But as I say, if you, especially the EB and the community of owners fees, if you pay them through your bank account by a standing order, and then the income tax, either the income tax on rental incomes or the income tax as a non-resident, if you get help from a good firm, you will not have any problem, and they will make the process easy for you. So thank you very much. And as always, you are welcome to make any comment, to send questions, and if we can, we will be happy to answer your questions. Thank you. Bye bye.